Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome to episode 13 of Stellaris. We managed to win the war successfully and vassalise our neighbour. We've signed a 10-year non-aggression pact with the neighbour that we have down here. We're only in the year 2246, which means we've only played 46 years into the game. I don't know if there's an actual maximum length that the game goes on for like there is in EU4 or CK2. I really don't know. So I guess we'll find out together. So we've done another another investigation down there. This one seems like it should be safe enough to go and investigate. We'll try and queue a few of these up. Got to be careful, of course, because there are some hostile ships around that we do need to be careful with. Our construction ship now has moved on. He's going to go and go to Nyamba and build that observation post around the primitives, which is something that I've never done before. However, we have managed to go and build the frontier outpost. That is costing us +1 influence per month. Now, we have a second frontier outpost somewhere, apparently. It's this one here. Now, the problem is you can think, well, could I get rid of this frontier outpost? And this is one thing that I dislike, is you can't actually tell where your borders would organically be if I was to remove this frontier outpost. Because I'm thinking, if I remove this frontier outpost, I wouldn't have to pay the maintenance for it anymore. And potentially these, my borders would still fit. It's a risk if it doesn't work. It is a really big risk. So I think I'm going to leave it there for now. Especially as we are actually working on a science that will give us +1 monthly influence anyway. On my other game that I'm playing, I do actually have a few outposts, and my monthly influence is almost... Well, my total stored influence is pretty much always at the cap. So I'm not too worried about that. We could go ahead and build a few more corvettes, but I think I'm going to save up and wait until we get our upgraded space stations or spaceports, and then we can grab ourselves some destroyers hopefully soon. So we are going to want to... we've got some of the energy from Hixar already, because two of the solar credits come from the star, and you gain those automatically by building the frontier outpost, because the frontier outpost does count as a mining station. Another system surveyed. So that observation post has now finished. So we've got Hadricus over here as well, but I want the construction ship to go here. Build the research stations first, and then we'll go and get the rest of the energy. There's probably not a huge amount. In fact, yeah, we'll queue it up. Once you've done that, build the mining stations as well. Let's just get it all queued up so we don't forget. And then we can come down here and we can get Roth here as well. So we've pushed their borders back a little bit more. They shouldn't push in as far as Roth here. I don't think their borders are going to expand that much. Not unless they colonise Bralix down here, and I don't think that's going to happen. So we should be okay. So yeah, we've got the observation post here now. So we're observing these guys. I don't exactly know what these do. I've never built one of these before. I had a mission for one in my previous game, but I didn't have any primitives close enough by to do anything. So we've got a few options. Passive observation gives us 3 society a month. Okay, brilliant. So that's passive observation. Aggressive observation. The natives are aggressively studied and live specimens are frequently collected to learn as much as possible about their biology and culture, which gives us a monthly gain of 6. Okay. And then there is technological enlightenment. An effort is made to rapidly elevate the native civilization to the space age. The time it takes is dependent on their current level of technology. So there's a potential way of taking a primitive, and this is what's called an uplifting them to the point where they can become a vassal, as opposed to just... So at the moment, they're a little bit like a protectorate in EU4. You know, they're not really capable of doing much. They're not all that useful, but we could sort of westernize them almost and actually try and get them caught up technologically. And then there's also covert infiltration. Agents are genetically modified to appear as members of the native population and sent to infiltrate their society. They will gradually replace world leaders and prepare the planet for annexation by us. This complex operation is only worthwhile with industrial civilization. So we have to have a policy called Unrestricted Native Studies, which has got a green star in it, so I assume we do have. And the planet owner must be in either the industrial age or above, essentially. Okay, that's fine. So I think for now we'll just go for passive observation. I'm not sure whether or not there is any negative side side effects to going for the more aggressive observation. It certainly didn't appear that there was anything. I didn't see anything there saying that it would. There's no cost. It's just an increased monthly gain. Let's go for aggressive observation. I guess this is a little bit like Star Trek, really. We're sort of it's the prime directive. The guys haven't discovered space technology, so they don't know that the aliens exist. So we've got to sort of study them from afar without them finding out about us. I really don't know what the difference is between those two options, because like I said, there doesn't appear to be any sort of downside to doing that. So we'll have to keep our eye on it. Still got plenty of debris to analyse. Another survey done. Okay, so we've now got the UV lasers, which we don't really need. I thought it was basic combat roles that I selected. Oh, it was basic combat roles I selected. We're still researching it. That was actually just a from completing all the debris. That's why we finished that one. It was just debris research. Couple more we've got to do. So let's go and research this. Research these. And off you go. Not too sure when these time out. Some of them have got very few days available on them, so some of them might actually disappear before we get them all done. It's only going to take 90 days to do this one. We might get them all done. It really depends what order I do them in.
Hostile fleet.
Let's go to that one specifically. No, we can't even see which one it is. Sometimes it's difficult to tell which one's which, so you don't know which one's going to time out first, which is a little bit of a pain. But we'll get there. What have we got going on here? I don't know. I'm just going to back out because it's scaring me a little bit. Who has died? Random scientist. You were our society guy. Let's go and... we don't have any free scientists. Let's go and recruit one. So you have new worlds. You're... which we want to go for? Longer leader lifespan. Research industry speed. Now then, actually, do we have... let's grab... This is Glorium. Let's put Glorium here. And then we'll grab a new recruit here. And we'll get the one that has the plus 10% to industry speed. And then we'll actually... as you can see, we've got 27% bonus now. It's our physics that's going to fall behind, actually. We really need to improve our physics. Speaking of physics, we have just done that. Let's go ahead and get the physics lab, because that's the one that we still need to get to do an upgrade. So we'll work on the physics lab, so we don't need to worry about any of those. Make sure we're unpaused again. Wait for everybody to get back where they are supposed to be. So let's have a little look around. The question is, are there any planets that we need to, or would like to colonize? See, none of these planets out here are colonizable. I would love to be able to grab some of these, potentially. And now, we're almost at our planet cap, but there's a way around that. You can actually create what are called sectors, which are a little bit like creating vassals. So, there are ways we can deal. Let's go and continue to try and explore some of these worlds. And then we might have to sort of start bringing you back, because you're a little bit out in the sticks and you're running into a lot of resistance that we don't really like. So, did we actually manage to research robots? I vaguely recall working on them. But there again, this is the problem with playing two games at the same time. You often forget which way around you've done things. Can't see the icon. It's quite possible that I skipped the research. Robot workers. Unlocks buildable population robots. So they have a cost, energy and minerals. Robots are relatively simple machines capable of accepting verbal commands, but processing no true intelligence of their own. So they don't output any science, but they do have plus 200 habitability and they gain extra minerals. So we've unlocked them. So how do we get them? Let's say we wanted to get them on a planet. So there's no way to just... Oh, there they are, right at the top, and I completely missed it. So you can build robot workers on a planet that has low habitability, which I guess is fine. I mean, we're not putting out too much science on this planet at all. Now, they do get plus 10 minerals. So if we've got a planet that has a lot of minerals on it, building some robots on these planets might not be a bad idea. Okay, so at least now I know how to build robots. The thing is, you still can't occupy a world if you haven't discovered the technology that allows you to colonize it. So Arctic worlds would be pretty horrible for us. Our people would be unhappy there. So we could put robots on it to work it, but you still need to be able to colonize Arctic worlds to begin with. What have we got here? Afro, you've died again. Just, what are you doing to me, man? You just keep dying. You're busy governing. You're governing what? Schlurg. What do we want here then? Engineering output. Oh, we want the science guy. Of course we do. Yeah, we're going to have new science guy. New science guy is going to be Foundation Afro the Third. There we go. And you're now back in charge of Chikora again. And please stop dying. Okay, let's do that. Still working on all of that debris. So yeah, so we know that we can put... Oh, more hostile fleets are everywhere. We know that we can put robot workers on planets to make up the population. We can actually build them to do that. That's really nice to know. Especially planets where there's a lot of minerals and not a lot of food. I mean, this one's got a lot of minerals, but it's also got a lot of food. And it's lush. Our habitability here is... well, actually, it's not that good. The people here aren't that happy, really. We could have a few happier people on this planet. It's definitely certain. So I could go ahead here and I could build a robot. So we'd have full happiness. Reduce science output. So there's no point working science tiles with them. There's no point working energy tiles with them. So they're only really useful for working... They're only really useful for working minerals, so I guess finding a mineral-rich planet and stuffing it full of robots is a good way to have a mining colony, essentially. Okay, that makes sense. So it's not something I'm going to mess around with too much. I wish these guys were a little bit happier. Maybe we can get a governor that would make them a little bit happier. We can have more leaders. You're all sort of science output again. What planet was I even looking at? Was it this one? These ones... See, these guys are unhappy as well. It's hardly surprising. Can't have governors everywhere. You have a lot of minerals, but no science output. Not a huge amount of decent governors to choose from. What do you have there? You're... nothing great.
Construction complete.
I mean, they all provide some happiness. They're not unhappy. We don't have any factions. I guess that's the important thing. As long as we don't have any factions that are rising up against us, everybody's still happy. So let's not worry about that too much for now. Okay, so science ships. You have researched all of those things. Fantastic. Let's go and grab these then while we still have the annoying flashing thing on the map. And we have another science ship that is, well, quite out of the way, really. Let's tell you to come home and get upgraded. You should navigate your way around all of the hostile stuff by just going through the safe systems. So that's all good. You'll notice now we're also no longer making a huge amount of energy credits, which is unfortunate. Our construction ship is, however, still working on grabbing these energy credits from Hixar. So it might well be that was just because he's built the engineering outposts, the observation posts first. Speaking of observation posts, how's this one going? See, I haven't really noticed a thing. Why have passive and aggressive? Unless aggressive requires a particular policy, and not everybody can do it. If there's no downside to doing it, why would you choose one over the other? Let's see if there's a policy that matches that. So if we want to have a look at slavery purge, orbital bombardment, native enlightenment. So native enlightenment prohibited or allowed. Through sharing our knowledge, we can actively encourage natives to take their rightful place in the galactic community. Migration, resettlement, voting rights, leadership, first contact protocol, artificial intelligence. So there's nothing there that says about how aggressively we can study them. What have we got here? Information quarantine.
Research complete.
We could increase our research speed. I don't think we need to rush any of these at the moment, so we'll leave those. Another research done. That is always good. Physics lab's done. Okay. Do we need more research alternatives? Look how many we've got to choose from at the moment. There's absolutely loads. Cold fusion could be useful. Disruptors could also be useful as well. 100% shield damage. Not that shields are all that useful if you're using kinetic weapons anyway, because you tend to go right through the shields. Let's go for the cold fusion power, because if we can reduce the number of power cores we need to put on a ship to run all of the modules and weapons, that means we've freed up some slots that we can put other stuff on, which is generally a good thing all around. I wanted to go and have a look at these guys. Now, they're in the Bronze Age. Yeah, but there doesn't appear to be anything. Their opinion of us... Terror bombing. We were bombing them?
System survey complete.
We're repugnant, so they don't like us because of that. Yeah, it's strange. Doesn't seem to be a downside to doing it, so fair enough.
Construction complete.
And what have we got here? You have finished researching that. Yeah, some good minerals on some of these places. Let's go ahead and have a look at some of these systems, because there are some planets here that we could potentially inhabit.
Complete.
So I'd like to see, is that the science we've done? Colonial centralization, so we can build planetary capitals, get more monthly influence, fantastic. So what do we want to do here? Quicksand removal, yes, definitely want that. So, let's go to our planets. We can now upgrade this to a planetary capital. That's going to cost us some influence. But it does produce... Let's just pause up a second while I read this. So it produces more food and more minerals. And it also gives +2 mineral, food and energy credits output. So it's going to be really worth having that. So we'll do that one. And also now we can finally upgrade this one to a physics lab. Get the physics improvement from that. And we'll just let the game play out while we go and upgrade the rest of these. It is expensive because of the amount of influence they cost, but they are really well worth doing. So get some planetary capitals. You... Oh, don't have population there at the moment. That is fine. What building is that? This is a mineral silo. That is fine. Not a problem at all. We've finished some more research here. Wow, getting through it fast. Build robot armies. So they're attacking armies, I would assume. Engineering facilities. Our engineering research is actually quite good at the moment. I prefer physics. Let's go and let's do nukes because they're quite quick and easy to do. And what have you run into? Well, at least we know why nobody's been looking at that. An ocean world. We're mollusks. Surely we like ocean worlds, right? What's our capital? Oh no, we for some reason like what worlds do we like? I don't even know anything of our people. Edicts, naval capacity, explorer, resilient. I don't even know where it tells us now. Oh, it's under species, isn't it? We need to go into species, find ourselves. We like arid. We're mollusks. Why do we like arid? So we're definitely not going to like ocean if we like arid. What about this one? Arctic world. Yeah, probably not going to like that either. We could go and take the fleet. Go over here. Go and destroy those guys. Give us something to do. Construction ship has finished. Anywhere else we could go and get some energy? I suppose we could do that here. Let's go and build a mining station there. Definitely want to try and get as much energy as possible. More construction's done. You were just getting an upgrade, weren't you? So a lot of places out here we could go and survey. So let's go and work on these. What have we got there? An arid world. That could be useful for us, actually. A little bit close to this empire. They might not like that. We definitely want to keep our eye on it. Could be useful. We'll leave the Githian where it is because that's going to go and check this planet out. What have we got here? This is an arid world, actually. Not fantastic. It doesn't have an awful lot of... I mean, we could clear pretty much all of these tiles, but it doesn't have a lot of yields on it, and it's kind of the wrong side of their space, which doesn't matter because they are my vassal, but it's just a little bit of a pain. Unemployment, you don't have anything useful you can do there. What's the food like on this planet? It's not bad. It could be better. We could just go for science here. Because we could build more food on some of these ones. Yeah, we've got a lot of science output on this one. Let's go ahead and build a science outpost there. And,
evading hostile fleet.
Oh, more hostile fleets. What a surprise. What are you guys doing? You guys are supposed to be getting involved over there. And I guess it's the Karsten that's trying to get out of... Oh, someone else has died as well. It's one of our governors. So I think the only governor we had was the one on Schlurg. Yep, you have died. Do we really need a governor there now? Habitability is 85. You probably don't need a governor. Habitability 100. If all the habitability is 100, why are all the people on the planet so unhappy? Because migration is prohibited. I guess we can go ahead and remove that prohibition now. Let's go and get ourselves a new governor, though. We don't have slaves. In fact, if we get one for scientific output... Because we were just looking at one of those planets and saying that planet has a lot of science. It was the one that had the unemployment on. Was it actually Schlurg? Yeah, it was Slug. So we've got a lot of science output from here. So that's worth having you on that planet. You should be on Schlurg. We'll go and revoke that policy if we can, which was the policy on migration. So we are going to put it to primary species only. The difference between primary species and what the options? You've got free, primary, and prohibited. So obviously prohibited, no one's allowed to migrate. Free means migration is allowed. Primary species means basically if you've got multiple species as part of your empire, which can happen because you can have other species come and migrate on your planet. So if you have other species as part of your empire, then that's saying that only my primary species can migrate around. So you guys are finished. You can go back home and repair. We can also get the Githian to come down and survey this planet. So what we could do, and I don't think we... Do we allow forced migration? Free pops cannot be forcibly resettled between planets. We'd have to... Well, we've got the individualistic ethic, so we cannot do it, unfortunately. But if you have resettlement on... You can do forced resettlement, which means what you could do is you could turn around and go to a planet. And you could say to one of these guys that you want them to resettle. See, we can't do it because we don't have the policy. But we could force them to resettle onto our planet. You've also got the option to enslave, but we prohibit slavery. And you've also got the option to purge, but we prohibit doing that as well. But it is possible to move populations between planets, and it can be worth it because if you've got population in your empire that are of a different species, they might be able to colonize other planets better than you can. So it gives you more option for what type of planets you can colonize. So there's missile defense modules done. Autocannons look really, really cool. Oh, no, we want to go for destroyers. So let's go and get that queued up. So that's another science done. Just going to unpause there. Construction ship is doing nothing. You were evading stuff because you were being attacked once more. you'd just gone over to there. Can you get to these planets? And let's go and survey these systems. But I think that's actually a good place to end the video. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you are still enjoying Stellaris. I'll see you next time, and until then, goodbye for now.